front seat. Happening around the world. Stuff from the this morning, but we ain't having it. You know why? People don't yelling legends. And the is in the house with us. Local writer, entrepreneur, all that good stuff. I fuck this stuff. On the front door, the house, from the front seat, right here, on the front seat. All right, let's get lifted up to DC. Ohio, what's up, Lucy? What's up, Patty? I love you. You get more. George, you heard? How you doing, Don? I love you. I got some clothing for you. Back in Funky Corner. You're going to get some back. You heard? You heard? New York. Please. Queen, how you doing, Seth? Great doing my home. I love your out there. So Larry, like this. Funky Chelsea, where you at? I see you signing in Dr. Brooks. I got you 12 something. Oh, your house, the last. Get 26, daytime. We coming, y'all. Woo! That's what I said. The shot is in the house. And yes, she is every week, y'all. What's up, family? I love y'all. My producer, Mr. Mark, we back behind the glass. Keeping the funky, keeping it bad. Always classy, I'm glad. Florida, what's up down there in New Orleans? How you doing? Oklahoma, I'm getting hyped as I go across the country. What's up, Vanessa? Thank you for the dope ass fucking hat. Woo! Minneapolis, where you at? Detroit, happy birthday, Dave Gonzalez, my son brother. I love you. Kitty Funk Radio, Pete Jackson, I got you. You know I got you. Down in Texas, Philly Phil, how you doing on the Funk Bus? Driving Circle Beat, doing the Funk City. I got you down there, Propeller. Woo! All across the country, Joanne, Nevada, I got you. California, we got you. We're good, yo. Dubai. Doing the Humpty Hump in Hawaii. Tokyo. Young Hanse, yo. We got you. China. Japan. We got you. I'm like, get crossing, y'all. Africa. Egypt. Italy is a selling action. Coming to Australia, Wendy. I got you. Danny Sosa, Germany. I got y'all. From the front street. We got you around the world today, y'all. Clap your hands, everybody. And this side is in the house. The front seat is upon you. We've been having all kinds of crazy glitches and all kinds of stuff today. We're going to do some of this, right? Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been crazy. It's going. I'm telling you. Oh my God. Yeah, Mark, you back there? Yo, take the other me off. The other me out. It's double me. Street doing what they do. Is that better? Yeah, that's. I basically want to kick myself out of the studio, Mark. The other one. Before we bring Linda on. Because I'm getting like an echo and it'll be out. Linda, I'm telling you, it is bring Linda.
Hello, everybody. What's up?
Hi, Linda.
Maybe the Chinese have a satellite interfering with your flow today. We don't know. It's all kind of crazy stuff going on as usual.
Yo, I'm telling you this. Yo, it's like weird. I never encountered this. Mark, you could take the other me out, please. Out together before we start the show. I apologize to my audience, but yo, we've been having some weird stuff this morning. You know what, Linda? You hang out right there. I'm going to go out and come back. All right.
Okay, because you got a real bad connection.
Stay right there.
Okay.
You stay right there.
Okay.
I'm going to go out. All right. Now we good. We should be good now. Right? We good now.
Sounds good to me.
How are you, Linda?
I'm okay. Can't complain.
Good morning.
Fellas.
Yes, it's been good. It's been that kind of morning because something happened over here right before we come on the air. For my audience, just so you guys know, it was putting triple up of what. That's right. It was Sir Nose DeFugavinci. It was putting triple of me in the studio. That's why there was an echo. That's why it was this. It was that. So we have today an amazing woman, entrepreneur, of course. Penned, helped pen One Nation Under Groove and hits like that with Funkadelic. Of course, her husband, Gary Scheider, rock and roll Funkadelic Hall of Famer. Her son, Garrett Scheider, on his way, following his dad's footsteps, and all the matriarch stuff that you do in your family. And, of course, proud to say you're my funk sister. So I appreciate that. Thank you for joining the show. I apologize to you and my audience for all the glitches, but we got it figured out. So thank you guys for hanging with us, Dr. Brooks and George. You guys are great. And Linda, how have you been feeling as far as dealing with the cold weather and everything up there?
It hasn't been too bad. We've had a lot of rain and just a couple of days when it was like really kind of cold. Like today is one of it. It was like in the 20s this morning. Pretty much we haven't had really bad. We haven't had any snow or anything like that. Just a couple of days when it was like kind of cold. But other than that, it's been a pretty mild winter, surprisingly so.
Yeah, maybe that's good.
March, we might get 3 feet or something. You never know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I know, down here today it's been unseasonably cold. It's been off and on. It's weird weather. Something's going on with the things that they're shooting down. And, we don't know what, man. That's why I wanted you on today. And, my condolences to Stone Tone the Clone, who had a death in his family. So, we feel for you. And thank you, Linda. You're always an awesome standby for me. And, I would like to, I was just telling my girl, I got to start having a guest host. So you could just host the whole show so I could take some time off, because coming up in May, it'll be 3 years, so I need a break sometime. So yeah, the big three, yo. So, you would be one of the people I would choose to just run the show, host the show, and be like, hey, do what you do with it. So
we'd love to.
That. Thank you.
Sounds like a plan. Okay.
Yes, we'll talk about that. Yes, that would be great.
Right.
Birthdays and anniversaries, of course, we love you out there. Co-produced today by CB, help me write this show and put it in. Linda Scheider, woman in her own standings. We're going to get into some gun stuff and talk about some Gen X stuff and middle class elimination and stuff like that, and just things that we as people see every day, and now we're starting to take for granted too much. So let's start there, Linda.
I have one question I would like an answer to. If anybody has an answer to this, after they found all those documents at Mar-a-Lago, who dropped a dime on Biden and Pence to have them go look at it? It sounds like somebody was like maybe a Trumper in the DOJ, because who blew the whistle on them to make them go and look at their stuff. They didn't have anything close to what Trump did. And we know how he was like lying and saying he didn't have anything, which got him in trouble. But who dropped the dime on Biden and Pence to have them go looking through their stuff for the same thing? That was weird. They haven't said how that came about, and that kind of bothers me. I think there might be some Trump people embedded in the DOJ that said, well, if they're going after him, we need to check on everybody else too. That's how I think it went down, but nobody's really said how that came about. That kind of worries me. Like, who did that? Who dropped the dime?
Yeah, I agree with you. And I believe when we look at the root or the root problem of everything, somebody got paid. You know what I'm saying? It's like when somebody is in your camp, but they're your enemy, and then it's easy for them to have all your little secrets and stuff, whatever Biden and Pence had and this and that. And so, of course, if they're not down with Pence and Biden, whatever, they're going to drop a dime and say, hey, listen, you know, I'm going to tell you and show you exactly what I know. And I think it's because in this country, people have decided, now this is a conscious choice, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or right, for what the reasons are, good, bad, or indifferent, people have decided to choose the light or the dark.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I know there are people with different parties and political affiliations and all of that, but those that walk in the light can still maintain some dignity and respect for other people.
You would think, at least, yes.
You would think. Yeah. But those in the dark, they're completely not even trying anymore. And,
you know,
that's where we are.
The weirdest thing about Congress lately, that when they allowed them to bring guns on the premises, and you have like people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and others threatening other people that they work with, and now they can bring guns, you know, these gun nuts. And it's like, really, how can you go to work downtown and do your business when you know there's somebody behind you who doesn't like you or has some kind of racist issue with you, might pull out a gun? You know, we still have issues with the Congress about January 6th, people that are still down there who were involved with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, how can you be comfortable doing any business for the country when you're looking over your shoulder all the time?
You're right. You're right. And you know what?
Sitting their guns on the table and saying, yeah, okay, come on at me. You know, it's crazy.
And, you know, the sad part is this is where we have made no progress, because if I remember correctly from the history, that probably was true, that they lied to me about the other bullshit. Everybody used to be strapped in Congress back in the 1800s because it was just the way of the world. So it seems like, yeah, we made progress, but we damn sure going backwards, man. And the sad part is it has now leaked down to 7-year-olds. Mm-hmm. You got 7-year-olds killing teachers, 6-year-olds in Virginia, Newport News. I lived in Newport News. I know the area well. I lived there for 8 years. My family is still there, you know, in Denby and Newport News. And I wasn't flabbergasted. I wasn't shocked, but I was in awe of how some people just blew that off as just another thing and didn't dig deep in the onion and say,
they certainly did not. They did not.
7-year-old who feels this way.
Mm-hmm.
So how did we get from, okay, people get in a bar fight or war or gangs, whatever. I don't agree with none of that, but hey, but a 7-year-old? Are we going to now have infants in preschool shooting each other? It messed me up so bad. I think when I heard that, I didn't try to intake any more information from society for a month. I really didn't.
The funny thing about that issue is they never came up with a reason why that kid did that. I'm assuming that maybe that teacher had been bullying him or being nasty with him, and he wanted to get back at her for doing that to him. They never really got into any depth. They kind of pushed it under the rug because he was so young. They never went into what the reason was. The only thing I heard about it was that it was his stepfather's gun. They never said how he got a hold of it either. You know, they kind of swept it. I think it was so shocking for him to be so young and do something like that. They quickly swept that under the rug. No more information about that at all.
That's right. And see, you're right. And see, I think the reason why they swept it under the rug too is because they were still trying to wrap their mind around the kid that shot up the bus on the college. because that happened like back during the late 22. Remember the kid on the campus, Virginia Tech?
Yes.
And he was either a former athlete or a former student, and he shot all those kids. They were still dealing with that. I know because I was talking to my family there about that. And then this happens. And see, we got to look at, there's so many facets to this, but I just want to read this to my audience. Again, we're hanging out with Linda Scheider today, from the front seat. 9 on the Grind TV every Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are amazing, great. We got a lot of great information. Please stay active on the chat line. We love you guys. There'd be no show without you. The show is co-produced today by my girl, CB, and produced back there on the technical side with Mr. Mark Lee. So nearly every American, now this is deep, nearly every American will know at least one victim of gun violence in their lifetime. That's too many. Over 1 million Americans have been shot in the past decade.
Wow.
We've lost 1 million people. So that means we're losing 1 million people every 10 years simply to gun violence, right? And gun violence rates are rising across the country. In 2021, gun deaths reached their highest level in the last 40 years with an astounding 48,830 deaths alone. You know what I'm saying? Just that 1 year.
There's been over 60 incidents since January 1st in this country.
It was 4, right. And it was 40 January 23rd. We've had 20 more since then in less than 3 weeks. 3 weeks time. We got a video we're going to show on that too a little bit later. But yeah, so here we are. We have a platform, you and I. Okay, we are able to reach people and talk and get to people. What do we tell them, in your humble opinion, about how to not take the anger road, but instead use our coping skills? Because as we were producing the show this morning, coping skills are lacking since maybe 1978, 79, 80, around there sometime, right? Mm-hmm. And they became latchkey kids. And for those of you who don't know what that means, parents are working, kids come home, got the kids.
I was one of them.
Yeah, raise yourself, right?
I certainly was, yes.
But you ain't out there with a gun, no. You know what I'm saying? You got coping skills. You know what I'm saying? You were able to pin one nation under a groove. You was bringing people together. You know what I'm saying? Your skills was a funk. See, everybody I know in the funk, we didn't act like this.
No.
Think about it. All of us. We had our issues, but
nobody ever had weapons on the P-Funk tours. Nobody ever carried any weapons except one person. I won't give his name, but he ended up going to jail for 75 years because of something he did outside of our camp. Okay. He was the only one I can ever remember that would always have a gun on him. And it felt comfortable walking on the stage with him, especially at the festival, knowing he had my back. But then he used that gun to do something awful. I won't go into detail about it, but he ended up doing a lot of time because he was so prone to have a weapon on him, and he used it at the wrong time.
And you don't have to mention it because I know him. I was standing next to him in Jersey. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know the incident. I know all about it. And believe me, when that happened, the whole world was shocked in the Funkadelic world. The whole funk world knew. We all knew. Yes. See, and I actually saw that one day. I was like, whoa, he must be the bodyguard. You know what I'm saying? Because we was getting George ready to do his thing, put the cake and all. Right. I was right there. Yo, I was even shocked. I was like, well, this is odd. I never seen this before. But again, nobody never heard that from me until you just said it now, because that ain't me. That's why I was always able to be back there with y'all, because I keep my mouth shut.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, it made you feel safe.
Yes.
But like I said, for him to use the gun for what he used it for and end up getting all that time, I was shocked as hell. And he was a young person when he did it.
Oh, yeah, I know.
He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yep, I remember. And see, again, we were all shocked because that wasn't the norm, wasn't the norm. And it was sad. But again, guns, man, these guns, they get into this country. And I was having a discussion with this morning. Like, kids don't own airplane companies and shipping companies and trucking companies. All right. And they can't go illegally get a car and ride around and sell guns out of the trunk, even though they do. But not 7-year-olds can't do that. You know, so do we tell every parent, hey, if you're going to own a gun, the gun comes with this lock. You can't buy the gun unless you have the lock. It's a package deal.
That would make sense. Anything to stop this, anything, because no one can convince me that people in their homes would have an AK-47, a weapon for wet war. For what reason? You know, like the women in Congress that are carrying those big AK-47s and such. What purpose do they serve? A deer is not going to shoot back at you. Those are weapons of war.
Yeah.
Why would you keep one in your home? What's the purpose of it? You know, unless you're some gun nut, and most of them are already nuts about other things. So why would they even be allowed to have weapons like that?
Yeah. I think it should be mandatory that if you buy any assault weapon or anything, if you can buy anything legally, it should automatically come. You have to purchase the safe. You have to purchase the lock. That's part of the package deal. And see, again, when it comes down to this gun thing, everybody automatically jumped on a side, you know, and I don't think there is a side. I just think there's one side, the side of righteousness. Like, that's the side. If you want to own a gun or hunt deer, now, I mean, I ain't hunting nothing. I don't want to kill anything, but it's your personal choice. I get it. You still fighting over the amendment right, which is really a militia, not owning assault weapons, but they twisted into that. People, if they really know the law, it was about a well-armed militia in case somebody attacks your town, then you were allowed to own guns. It had nothing to do with owning an AK-47, walking into a movie theater and cutting people in half. Two totally different things. I'm sure if those cats with the muskets could have envisioned this, they would have been like, you know what? I don't need this musket.
Take it back.
Yes. Look what they're doing like 200 years from now. You know?
Oh my God, my kid might get a hold of this and blow somebody away by accident. You know, do we need this? No, we don't.
Exactly. Let me ask you this. Getting back to Gen X or whatever generation it was, do you think parents, because of the economic situations, had to work harder, therefore they left their kids to be kind of raised on their own or in the street or by other influences that weren't so good?
By TV, you know, like I said, as a latchkey kid, I know that I spent most of my time watching television after I did my homework or made my breakfast or whatever, you know, so it's like you have to like have some kind of guidelines for your children, you know, give them an hour or so to be on the computer and then, you know, enough, watch what they've been looking at, you know, where they're getting these ideas from. Some of these games are so advanced for young children to play, where they're shooting and killing, blood splurting and all that kind of stuff. Maybe there should be some age issue with that. You know, maybe under 18, you can't look at those certain games or play those certain games. There have to be some restrictions. And Congress is kind of trying to work with this now because they see how girls are being worried about their weight, how they look, you know, the issues with like how, you know, your appearance, being bullied. My 7-year-old granddaughter is being bullied at school to the point where she finally got sick of this guy punching on her and pushing on her, where she attacked him finally. Now they want her to go to counseling because of what she did. I don't know if they're dealing with the guy who started all this with her, but she's 7 years old. What kind of self-esteem is she going to be building when she's scared to death to go to school every day?
Yo, that happens a lot. And I'm sorry for your granddaughter. I think this whole bully, and I got 2 girls, so I definitely I get it. It's like, believe me, my one's in college. I breathe every morning that she's still there, safe, and my other's in high school, 2 freshmen, right? So I definitely understand that whole bullying thing. I think again, you know, the kids to do that, their self-esteem is so low. They want to hurt other people. You know, I know somebody that has a child and, you know, smart, really brilliant child, and she don't really like school too much because it's too much going on in her classroom. She wants to be there. She's trying to learn, but then there's so many bad kids, you know. And again, I liken it to the cabal because I know the things in the food, fast food especially, The things they see on TV, games, the instant gratification, and the self-entitlement that society has deemed young people before they even become a king. They're thinking they're a king or a queen, and you still got to grow up. I don't think we allow these kids to grow up. I always said daydreaming. That's why they used to give us so much time to go outside and play in school, because they knew playing outside, daydreaming, and forming society bonds as a kid was going to help us now, which is why we don't shoot people. When we was in playing King of the Mountain, if you didn't make it to the top, you tried again. If you struck out in baseball, you went to the back of the line, waited your turn, talked to some people, and go back up and try again. You know what I'm saying? If you come in first, second, or third in the race, you try again. So that has an effect, I think.
When Madonna was, doing her thing, you had little 6-year-old and 7-year-old dressing like her, trying to be little Madonnas and stuff. Kids get a lot of their feedback from what they see on television.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Girls and boys. The boys, with the women and the guns and the money, driving the fast car and, having a Lamborghini and all that kind of stuff. Those are the images that they're seeing all the time. Yeah. And they're trying to figure out how to copy those. And some of them are not something they should be looking at a young age.
Agreed. And I think because that's part of it, they're like, hey, if they destroy each other, then that'll be more money for us, so we won't have to really do that. We can concentrate on destroying something else, and see, again, we got away from tribes, For those of you just tuning in, the amazing Linda Scheider, of course, her resume speaks for itself. And we're digging deep into these school shootings because she, like me, is a very important subject advocate for everything that's right in this country. And that's what we're trying to do, bring peace, love, and harmony to everybody out there watching. And let you guys know, listen, we're paying attention. We're about funk, but we understand what's going on in the world.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not sleeping on nothing.
Yes.
And these school shootings, I have to bring this up in particular. The one that happened over here at Hillside High School was 10 minutes away. Now, my daughter had a choice to go to Hillside or Jordan. She decided to go to Jordan. Thank God, Maya. I love you. Love you, Kayla. But it's right there. And I'm like, it's right there. And I was talking to a gentleman the other day, and he said, when this thing ends up in our backyard, then we'll do something. I said, bro, it's already in our backyard.
In the backyard, yes.
Yep. We're going to pull up a graphic after we take our break and come back on the other side. And we're going to show the country who's watching just how many places there are. We have a map. We have a graphic. We got a nice little video we're going to show. We're hanging out with Linda Scheider. Before we get to that, Linda, when we look back at our parents, how they used to settle things, our generation, how we used to settle things, and then we got to that generation to where there were no more fist fights. It became violent, knives, this and that.
Guns.
Ironically, it coincided with the crack and coke. Because as that drug became more valuable, you had to have better weapons to protect yourself and this and that and all this other crap. You know what I'm saying? So when that happened, I noticed wow, they're flooding the country with drugs, and then there's an influx of high-powered weapons. That's not an accident.
I saw a documentary a few years back about when the Bloods and the Crips are really intense in L.A., and one of the brothers said that there was a train area where they could go to a train car unlocked, and it was loaded with guns. Like the world was setting them up to kill each other.
Yeah.
They said how amazing it felt to them to actually go to this particular area, open this train car, and see guns just free.
No security.
Help yourself, go out there and kill each other. That's how they were set up to do that.
Yep. People don't know that story. You've told me that before. And definitely that's a fact. And see, no security. So again, America eats its young, Funkadelic, like inside out. How do we destroy a country? Russia always said this.
From within.
This was the key to communism, right? Good or bad, they always said, listen, the way to destroy a country is from the inside out. This way they don't see it coming. You eat up the inside, the outside for sure is going to fall. And that's what the cabal knows about, because they're like sitting at the top. They're like, well, listen, it's about to collapse anyway. So we don't care. We're going into space soon, you know? Yep. We're hanging out with Linda Shide and Mr. Mark Lee. I love to hear Keith Jackson's voice. You guys out there, thank you for tuning in. We got a lot more coming for you. We got a nice video we're going to show you. And we're going to reminisce a little bit about Gary and show some pictures that I pulled up, a couple, Linda. So you hang out with us, Mr. Mark Lee. Thank you. I apologize for all the technical difficulties earlier, but it seems certain those can't get the light. Stay informed. Stay up. Stay lit. We got you all out there. Keith Jackson, where you at?
Hey, this is Keith Jackson with P-Funk Radio, inviting you to check out my brother Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat. Saturdays, 12 noon on the East Coast and 9 a.m. on the West Coast. It all happens on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube. Great guest, great conversation each and every Saturday. That's Funk from the Front Seat with Zach Robinson on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Check him out.
Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here. Hey, it's Chrissy Key Rollins here with Holistic Restoration, inviting you to check out Zach Robinson with Funk in the Front Seat. He drops new episodes every Saturday at noon on the East Coast time, and replays are posted for whenever you miss a live stream. You can find him on 9 on the Grind TV and also on YouTube, and get ready for the funk because he brings it every week along with hot topics, amazing guests, and great conversations. Again, that's Zach Robinson with Funk from the Front Seat on 9 on the Grind TV and YouTube. Go check them out.
Yeah, we are back. And Mr. Mark Lee, while we at it, I know we got something special. I want you to pop on real quick. We'll take a few minutes and we're going to promote this thing, Linda, so hang with us. Something big is happening at the Hayti Center, Hayti Heritage Cultural Arts Center down here in Durham. Sunday, February 26th. We're going to be bringing it hard. Mr. Mark Lee, you got that ready for us, sir? No 1 minute? You need a minute?
Universally, from adulthood to the nursery. Funkin' Future Festival is going to heat it up like Mercury. We're going to slay all the universal sap like Hercules. You're going to catch our burns like a 3rd degree. If you ain't talking Funk and Future Festival, chill. Don't say a word to me. Verbally, I extend my thoughts to all outer levels to reach all hip-hop rebels. Word to Bam Bam, word to Pebbles. Because the excitable, lyrical content keep you happy. Word to Pappy. You know about Funk and Future Festival. The heads that keep it nappy. You're going to turn the mic up in your Mackie. Let me verbalize my vision that all of us in the universe, we in the same position. To unify our mic cords, our bond together. Psychologically, it's the only way we're going to reach our treasures. I learned from my errors. Funk and Future Festival, we're going to take this thing up to the next level. We got longevity. 23rd, 24th, 25th century, whatever. We're going to stay clever. So keep it right and keep it equal, because this one goes out to all my Funk and Future Festival people.
We taking funk to another place after George brought it from outer space and put this music in our face. We funkin' for a new era, getting all in your underwear and ruining your mascara. We going deep, deeper than the motors in your booty. Getting up in that ass, that's our duty. Coming hot and steamy like jacuzzi. You don't want to do me? Then sue me. Coming at you with a new funk army like it's Credence. That new groove allegiance. This is that new funk, that now funk, that next funk. You can't phone it in and you can't text the funk. Funkin' is a lifestyle. And like we told you once before, if you got funk, you got style. So come on in and have some funk and a smile. But you better settle in. We're going to be here for a while.
My man Tony Cam hanging out. We're promoting this thing. Mr. Mark Lee, pop on for a bit and tell us a little bit about it, sir. Mark Lee, you back there?
I'm back here. See if I can get some better light on the situation. Hold on 1 second.
Anyway, Mark Lee down there, the curator at the Hayti Center. He will be the co-host, and he'll be out in the parking lot with the kids and the drones and doing all this good stuff. And as we get closer, I need Durham to show up and show out for this event. It's Black History. It's Durham history. Oak City Music Collective. My management company down here, and my record label, OCMC. Thank you, Diego. Appreciate you, Tammy. We making this work. And even, if we don't fill up the joint, we're going to do what we do because it's a necessary thing to pay homage to our ancestors. And, of course, pay homage to the funk shoulders we stand on, like George Clinton, Bootsy Collins, Gary Scheider, Boogie Munson, Belita Woods, Linda Scheider, these people, Dawn Silva, Mooka Kelly, and, Billy Bass, and Eddie Hazel, and Bernie Worrell, and Tiki Fullwood, and, Jerome Braley, you name it, the list goes on and on. Deborah, and everybody, we stand on their shoulders, we pay homage to you. That's why we continue. So if you say, keep the funk alive, then put your actions behind that and help us keep it alive. And I'm going to leave it at that. Mr. Markley, do we have that other one? The other promo for Max Distro, sir? Let's run that. We're hanging out with Linda today.
Funketeers from all over the galaxy are headed to planet Earth for the Funk and Future Festival, a hybrid event celebrating the influence and impact of historic and current funk artists through a technical and cultural lens. Taking place February 26th at the Hayti Cultural Center in Durham, North Carolina. Featuring Zach Robertson and the Nappy Head Funk Army and Tony Camp and the Funk All-Stars in concert and in the metaverse. Tickets available now at funktology.com. Funketeers from all over the galaxy.
All right, so you guys got that info. 919, I expect y'all to show up and show out. We're going to be pushing it hard this week, so we need you guys to come do this thing and have some fun and check it out and support, our culture, as well as turning other cultures on to the funk music. Linda Scheider, we are back on this side. Mark, you have those photos? Please pull them up. Linda, we're going to put you to the side. We're going to show a couple of photos because I just thought they were so cute and adorable. And then you can comment on them because you're an angel and my funk sister. I'm so grateful to have you in my life. It makes a huge difference.
Same here, my brother.
Trust me. It's dope. Yeah, man. We got to get some stuff popping and it's going to come like it needs to come. I'm ready when you are, sir. Mr. Lee back there working hard, looking good with the nice trimmed up beard. And he's actually on site at the Hayti where we're doing the event. So that's a good thing. I'm going over there later myself and scope it out. Now, where was this taken at? I love the chair.
That was at the Grammy Awards. Garrett did a show after the Grammys when we finally got the Grammy. And that was at Garrett's show. He did a show in LA, like right next to where the Grammy Awards were taking place.
I love that, man.
So that was me in the Cub sitting in the throne.
Yo, you totally are the queen right there. Like that's hot. That's like a 10. That's a dime. You know what I'm saying? You rocking it out, and the smile that you're giving out as a true funk soldier, a mentor, and a sister of this, not forefather, but sister of this stuff. That's amazing that, we can still be here and chat with you. It's a blessing.
Amen.
It is, man. I love it. I love it. Mr. Lee. I love this one.
That was at a BMI convention in Miami. And the other person in the picture that's not showing is Dale Bryant. He was the president of BMI for a while. We met him when he was like working up the roots of it, and him and Gary got to be really good friends. So he's the other person that was in that picture. He retired, I guess, about 2 years ago. But we watched him as he was like basically a messenger, and he moved his way up the ranks and finally became the president of BMI for many years. About 10 years he was there.
Yeah, I'm registered with BMI. That's what my music is registered under. You know, I was with CSAC for 20 years, and then they dumped me, but it was okay. But see, now BMI, I jumped on with them, and I'm good. You know, so for those of you, none of y'all can steal my publishing because I got that covered.
Yes, yes, they're good. They're good with it. They're good with the writers. They take care.
I ain't stupid. You know, you may think I jump around funkin' or the egg, but yo, BMI got my back. I got one more, Mr. Lee. You got one more for me? Where was this? Because I love this picture. I love the glasses.
That was here. The glasses I got from Gary's cousin. In DC. I think maybe that's the Funketeers Ball, not this year, but the year before.
Okay.
I got the
That's why I chose the
from Gary. I got the glasses from Gary's cousin.
Okay. I was like, because they are completely funky. Completely funky. Mark, we got one more left, you said, right? Thank you, sir. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, that one I think was done. I'm not really sure about that one. It looks like a big show. I see, like, I can't see it because it's so small. It looks like it's Garrett and Marshall both in there.
Yes.
I'm not sure what that one was taken. I'm not really sure. I can't really tell.
That's why I love this picture, because it's back. It's definitely post-show because everybody's smiling.
That's me and the kids. That's me and Garrett and Marshall. That was taken at the Howard Theater. No, at the Apollo in New York.
Okay. Yeah. That's why I love it, because that's kind of like when I met them. They seen them when they was babies, but then I hadn't seen them in a while, and then I seen them there, you know, and I was like, wow. And then, you know, I was backstage hanging out, whatever, and I was like, they all shy this. One thing about your seed, Jack, they shy. Oh, them shyness. You know them all. They all y'all be cookie cutting shyness. Even your grandbaby, I saw at the festival we played with y'all. Cookie cutting, man. Y'all, your seed is strong.
Those genes are intense. They are.
Trust me, your place on shyness on this planet is definitely confirmed. Bang, in stone, because y'all are here. That name will carry on, trust me.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I just wanted to reminisce a little bit with you, because, you know, when I see photos and I see people happy, and I look back on, you know, following your career, and you've been my mentor for a long time, following you guys, man, it does me joy that I can actually sit here and talk to you. I swear, I get so happy just freaking talking to you about anything. You know, it could be the orange juice I'm drinking, or is it really orange juice? You'll never know.
Always a pleasure, my man. Always a pleasure.
So let's get back to this thing. What do you think about the middle class now becoming fenced in? Because you know what I'm talking about? These fenced in areas where they're gated communities, and they call themselves a middle class now. So if they're calling themselves a middle class, what are we?
I guess we're like on the fence. Basically, literally on the fence, because in this area, in the DC MDVA area, the gated communities, those houses are going for millions, you know, at least 1 million to 3 or 4 or more to gate yourself in. And it's like, okay, but the areas that they do this in this particular area, it's like, okay, but you come out that gate, you might get ganked because they're putting them anywhere, and they're not really considering the environment that they're putting these places in. When the sun goes down and you come out that gate, you don't know what's waiting for you on the other side. It's kind of scary to be in a place that expensive, knowing there's so many people around that are trying to take advantage of it. You know,
I tell you,
you're
right, because here we having our packages stolen on the reg. I had 3 packages stolen, one while I was actually in the house. They sent me the picture. I was told to go look for it. I went to look, sitting in the car. It was gone in like 2 minutes. And see, broad daylight, 2:30 in the afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've had my license plate taken off my car.
Yeah. People have devalued human life. Crabs
Uh-huh.
in the barrel theory, as my lady says.
Yeah.
Especially our people.
Yeah.
And I think that because of the devaluation of life, it has seeped back to the 7-year-olds, and they have seen how we treat each other. And they're like, some of them that are on that edge, they just jump over. Now, I want your thoughts on this. I'm a big proponent of therapy if it helps you, if it can, and if it's purposely needed. I'm not ashamed to say I've seen a therapist. I think everybody should see a therapist. I encourage you, if you feel in some kind of way, please. But I can, for the life of me, cannot figure out why we started medicating our children so freaking early and saying that he's angry. He's a kid. He's supposed to be angry. He can't put the goddamn blocks together. Give him time to figure the shit out. Don't just medicate him, And I think that's a major problem.
I agree, because when children are that young and they start putting them on ADD drugs and all those kind of things, they don't know what side effects are going to come around. How that's going to affect their brain as they're growing up. It's like, is it going to block off certain paths that might make them a normal human being down the road? It's just like, and for some reason, our people are not too inclined to go through a therapist. It has a stigma still. And like I said, if you're having issues and your head is not right, you need to find some place to talk about it. And find some kind of balance in your life where you're not really anticipating hurting yourself or hurting somebody else. Kind of hard to see some of these issues with these gun things going on, that they're Black people shooting people now. We could understand the racist hatred that white people were using to shoot us in those shopping centers and wherever. But to see Black people doing it now, doing mass shootings, it's like, what has this country become?
Yep. See, and I was going to bring that up because you're right. Because yes, we always killed each other, and killed other people, robbing them. But now we never did mass shootings.
No,
I mean, like to that level where it was just random. Of course, it was always gangs.
Gangs
But,
might do that.
Right. But we never. That wasn't something that leaked over into our psyche. And like you said, that means that we're all one. I keep telling people, one nation, like you and Gary, but one nation. We're all one. That's why I sing that song all the time. I mix it in with everything I got. Even my music, I put, we're one nation, a revolution. You know what I'm saying? Because I got that from y'all. Because we are. Because, and thank you, Gary. Because why this kid in Michigan decided to do what he did, 20-something years old man. His life is ruined. The kid's life is ruined. His family's life, all of that. He ruined so many lives, including everybody on that campus, on every college campus around the world.
I think he was in his 40s and he ended up shooting himself.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He was in his 40s then. I'm thinking of the other kid that was in his 20s. Yeah. The kid that was killing the homeless people. Sorry. Whoa. So many. Hard to keep track.
I haven't heard about that one. Oh, my God.
No, yes. He was in some state. This guy was just randomly going around just killing homeless people. Just shooting them.
Well, that one kind of missed me, because I find myself kind of weaning off the news because there's always so much intensity going on that it gets kind of stressful sometimes. You
have to. Getting back to why Black people have a stigma about therapy. Why do you think that is?
I think that we see that as a sign of weakness. And we know that to survive in this country, we have had to be stronger than we probably would have even anticipated trying to be.
Amen.
And I think it shows a weakness that we're not willing to deal with.
Yeah. The Mob was like that too. And the Tony Soprano movie, even though it was, the series, there was a stigma about certain races of people dealing with therapy. Mm-hmm. Latin people for a long time didn't want to go to the doctor. They had to be forced by other Latinos, because I used to date Latinos, be around them all the time. They're like, no, not going to the doctor. Mm-hmm. Like, yo, bro, your leg is falling off. You got to go to fucking, your foot's fucking hanging off. This shit ain't going to fix itself by itself. You need some kind of medical attention. No. So I worked with a lot of Latin brothers and sisters because of doing construction and stuff, right? And I used to be a lumberjack for a minute, right? And we'd be all out there, and somebody would bang, get completely fucked up, completely. And they would just, oh, we'll be here tomorrow. I'm like, how you coming tomorrow? You can barely walk. Your leg's broken, you know? And it was because they were so afraid of getting deported. But see, I never subscribed to that. I don't think you should deport somebody if they need help, you know? Deport them after. But you can't let people just like live like that. And I think for us, therapy, like you said, is a stigma attached to it. And it's sad. Shouldn't be. Shouldn't be.
Because we have a lot of people that are suffering from being bipolar, schizophrenic, depression, especially during COVID. I think there was much more of intensity of the depression coming up with people because of being cooped up and not being able to socialize.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and when you're sitting around and you have nobody in your environment but yourself and your mind can play tricks on you.
Oh, yeah.
There can be an intensity about something that might have been trivial, but because you don't have anything else going on at the time, you take that into a very intense mode, and it puts your head into a bad place.
Yeah, it does. It does. And you're right. I'm glad you mentioned the mind, because the human mind is the most important thing we have that balances everything we do. I suggest everybody look up some Dolores Cannon, look up Sagaru, take a passage from, you know, the Ethiopian Bible and read some of that stuff towards the end, just to understand how we're connected, you know, with space, with the universe, with love, with Jesus, with the light. And I think we all need to go back to some of that. Daily mantras in the morning. Pick 3 of your favorite things and just go out and tell the universe, hey, thank you. Look up in the sky and say thank you, you know, because life is short. We found that out.
Yes.
We just lost, you know, some famous people. Every week seems like people are, you know, as we get older, of course, they're going to pass on, but it's a shock. You know, it comes like, wow, this person passed and that person passed. So it is a shock, you know. I think the devaluation of human life by kids, how do we get these kids to understand their life is important? What are we not telling them?
We're not paying much attention to them in these days. People are either working too hard, stressing about finances, and the children are being left to their own devices. Once again, like I said, they're sitting around for hours playing video games, guerrilla warfare, and all that kind of stuff. That's where their minds are intensely devoted to, and they're not getting any kind of feedback from the family as far as like something else to think about. Taking them to the museum or an art exhibit or art gallery or something where they can find some kind of beauty in the world. All they're seeing is the death and destruction. And that's not putting their heads in a good place.
That's right. And you remember, like, even though, you know, musicians travel or truckers travel or soldiers, there was always a time in your house where it was family time. We didn't have cell phones, all that. You sit around the table. That's how you found out shit. Like, hey, what'd you do today? Or how was school today? Or daddy did this at work today. Or mommy did this. And mommy baked. Because, you know, it was a thing. It was a tribe. You know, families used to sit at the table. You know, they used to have a meal together. They used to talk about shit. Talk about the neighbors. Hey, old so-and-so's doing this. Or we got to go to church and do that. And we lost that whole thing when things kind of sped up for us in the 70s and 80s. We lost it. We lost it, man. And I wish we could get back to that. I think every family, if you can, if you have a family, you should sit down at dinner on Sunday or Saturday. Pick a day without phones, without devices at the table. Sit down and just look at each other and talk. You know, communicate.
That's missing in most households these days.
It's totally missing.
Kids are sitting at the table playing, you know, with the phone, working the phone, you know. You can't have a conversation if you're occupied doing that.
Nope.
You know?
And I see it in restaurants. I see couples out together. They sitting there. And I'm like looking at them like, you could be talking to each other. That would make more sense. You know, we got so hooked on this, we forgot about all of this.
Yes.
That's the cabal. That's how they got us in. They sucked us in with the phones, the games, the this, the that. You know,
and they have their purpose. They have their good points.
Yes.
In extremes on any level. Not a good look. Not a good look at all.
That's right.
Especially for kids.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Once the middle class was eliminated, I noticed we became whatever we are, right? and that middle tier, that tier stays so self-medicated from parents to kids. I see it all the time. You can tell when people walk around. You know, I want to say it's the soccer mom and dad crowd, right? Because their idea of coping is to not cope and not feel. And that trickles down to their kids. And then they're surprised when a kid from Columbine goes under his mattress and pulls out weapons, or the trench coat mafia, or all of these bad killings in Florida or wherever they are. And then they do some shit. They're like, how did this happen? And my thing is, how did the weapon get into your home without you knowing what was in there? When I was a kid, my father knew everything in my room. My room wasn't allowed to be locked. You know what I'm saying? There was no such thing as a kid locking the door on the parent back in the day. Didn't happen. Didn't happen.
Nope. Couldn't lock my door either.
Yeah, it was just like your parents knew what you was doing.
They would come in here to try to find out why.
Yeah. Yeah. They knew your friends, their mothers and parents. They knew. They knew. You know, and I think we lost the tribal aspect of neighborhoods. You know, people move into neighborhoods
In
now.
the
They're
village.
different from you. I can't talk to them. You know, if I was living next to the most racist person, they had a rebel flag in their yard, and I was being me, I would still talk to the person, because I've done that. I know plenty of people that don't like black people or Native Americans or Spanish people. I've had to work with them all day, but I still talk to them. They treat me decent, I treat them decent. They come at me, I go at them. But, you know, you have to at least talk to people that are different. If you do not talk to people that are different, ain't nobody going to learn nothing.
Exactly. You're right about that.
We have to, and I heard one of the politicians say this. I don't know who it was, Republican or Democrat, but he or she said, we have to understand why people don't understand each other. That's the basic thing. The cabal has stripped us down to, we can't even think about another human being and look at it from their point of view. And that's where we're screwing up at. I have to be able to see things from another point of view. Can't just be mine. You know, I got to understand why they feel like that, why they feel like that, why you feel like that, you know, and we lost all that because we're in this device.
24/7.
This device.
24/7.
And like you said, it has its good points, has its downfall. That device right there, the government cabal has figured out how to get us, and none of us can live without it. I don't care who you are. You got to have your cell phone. You got to have it. Now, it's convenient. I like it.
Definitely is. And, you know, my life is on my phone. If I lost my phone, I wouldn't have anybody's phone numbers to call them or anything. You know, business stuff, all that's on my little iPhone.
Right, exactly.
So to lose it would lose all my identity pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much everything. And see, that's how they got us. They know we need it. And it's a necessary thing.
But we were fine before they came up because, like I said, we had telephones that had caller ID if we wanted to call somebody back. You know, we didn't need all this stuff. But once we got a hold of it, we got locked in.
Got sucked in. I had a date book that was this thick. With all, you know, that's what we used to have back in the day. Hey, where's your date? Pull out your date book. You know what I'm saying? And then write stuff in it. And then you say, okay, today I got to do this. Today I got to do that. Now everything's on my calendar, on my phone. You know, and it's weird.
You don't have to think. You don't have to like remember a phone number. All you have to do is pull it up on your phone and hit dial. You know,
right.
Like I said, if I lost my phone and had to call somebody, I would be at a loss. I would not have anybody's number in my head to call them.
Me too. I can't live with that. That's why I'm not knocking, but I'm just saying it got us because now we can't live without it.
Yeah, we were okay before they came up, but now we've gotten so attached to them that they're pretty much running our lives.
Yeah, that's pretty much beeps and buzzes and sounds. That's being you know what I'm saying?
And circles.
Yes.
You know, when you can't get on a certain app or something, it's circling. It's like, okay, now I have to go into tech mode and figure out what's going on with it. You know,
you know what's funny?
Call somebody and ask them.
Yeah, exactly. What's funny is even as adults using technology, we have become prone to, we need to know right away. There was a time when you didn't find stuff out. It took time, a month, a day, whatever. Now,
research.
If we don't find stuff out in 3 seconds, we're all pissed off.
Frustrated, yes. Who'd have thunk it 20 years ago? Okay.
Who knew? Because when I'm looking for shit and I was like, search, blah, no, that's not it, search, blah, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm looking for. Why did I come up the first time?
They don't have phone books for you anymore to look up numbers.
Yeah.
They figure you can Google it. You don't need to have a phone book anymore.
Yeah.
So I guess the trees are saying thank you because they're not cutting down trees to make those books. But
that's right.
That's right. Having everything at your fingertips. Now you have to go and Google it. Yep. And hopefully you know how to spell it correctly.
That's right. Which is, I'm the worst speller in the world, I'm sure, because I'm dyslexic. But check this out. What do you think about electronic cars and where we're going with that thing? Because California is making it mandatory by a certain year. You're going to have one.
Well, like I said, they need to bring the prices down because they're much more expensive than a gas-driven car, So they need to bring the prices down. If they want everybody to have one, they should price them in your price range. Paying 50 or 60 grand for a car, everybody can't afford that.
That's right. I agree. You know what bothered me? I saw the commercial and the people, the yuppie couple, hey, we got an electric car, they're driving, right? And the guy says, well, I get 312 miles and then I got to stop and recharge. It don't take 4 minutes. So I'm thinking to myself, suppose I want to go further than 312 miles. That's why I don't want one. I'm like, and then I got to find a place. If I'm out in the desert and I'm going 500 miles, ain't going to be no electric plug-in things out there.
Nope.
So I don't get it. Why are they trying to force that on us?
Well, they're anticipating putting them more around, but like I said, with the price of those cars, everybody still can't afford it.
That's right.
What do you do if you can't afford an electric car?
That's right. And what do I do if I don't want to spend the 20 minutes wasting time to charge it?
Mm-hmm.
I could still just be driving. Mm-hmm. See, that didn't make no sense to me. And I know they're trying to push this narrative of the new planet. We're in the new world order, the NWO. So everybody you see, they're going to be ultra skinny. They're going to walk like drones. Got the things for real. Got the things in their ears, and they're just like walking around like this. And I'm telling you, they're skinny as his pencil. I see it coming. I swear to God. You know me. I drive Uber. I drive everywhere. I see all kinds of people, and they're walking like this, and they're turning into these things, And then I'm like, George Orwell or whoever said Big Brother's watching wrote that
1984.
Book. He was right.
Yes, he was.
He was right. He was right.
Because we definitely have spy cameras everywhere on every corner in the metropolitan areas. So, you can't go to a business without the cameras watching you come in and go.
Yep. Shout out to Dawn. How you doing, Dawn? Thank you. Much love to you. Shout out to everybody in the chat line. Stay active. Mark makes a good point. I'm going to ask him to come in. Mark, you going to come in with that comment? Because he says next up is, they're going to put that chip in computer in our body. So that's probably it.
People have them already.
Yeah, we do. Because, see, our cell phones track us. That's why people said, they're going to track us. Like, bro, they've been tracking you from day one. The first time they put the magnetic strip on the back of the license, I remember telling people then, because we had the paper license. Then they put the strip on. And I said, this strip is the same as the credit card strip, which has all your information. Mm-hmm. And they was like, no, it's not. I said, they said, no, it's just for the DMV. I said, I'm telling you, it has your birth and everything you've ever done is on that strip.
Done. Yes.
And I told them that on license. People didn't believe me. Now they see what I'm talking about. See, because when they first did that, they was prepping us then for the now. Everything's going to be that digital, Mr. Lee, jump in with your comment because you need 5 minutes. Too much background noise. Close the door. I'm trying to get Mark to come on. He's working. So, but yeah, I'll wait till you come on so you can extrapolate your comment from your brain. I learned that word yesterday, extrapolate. So I'm using it, extrapolate.
Okay, so you've been filming through this thesaurus, huh?
I don't know where it came. I know where it came from. I can't say, but yeah, I was told, and I had to say, what does that mean? It completely changed my mood. I went from like sadness to happiness. I was like, I don't know what extrapolate means, but now I do, and things of that nature. Mr. Mark, how you doing back there, bro? I love Mark. He's working really, really hard. And we're having a good time today with Linda Shot is hanging out, Funk from the Front Seat. 9 on the Grind TV. All of y'all staying active, and we love to talk about stuff. Linda is my DC politician person. Okay, did you watch the address?
Yes, I did. And so how ugly the Republicans were acting, especially once again Marjorie Taylor Greene calling Biden a liar. The other chick from Colorado, the other gun nut, talking about when he was like, "What do we need assault weapons for?" She's like, "No." They booed him. They really showed their behinds again. Typical Republican behavior. They are just so out of touch with the realities of the world. And their whole issue now, they're like, doing investigations and kicking people off of committees and just making asses of themselves, basically. Showing all the craziness and the ugliness that they have become known for is showing in downtown.
Yeah.
Nothing important is going on for the people, just their little personal issues.
Yeah. I wish that we could eliminate the majority of those people, because in my opinion, and again, it's just my opinion, not the opinion of StreamYard or YouTube or Facebook or all the platforms that I'm on. Just my opinion only. I wish we could eliminate half the politicians, because I really think we have way too many.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that becomes the problem with the constant cluster fuck of shit that goes on up there. Because when I was a kid, we took a field trip and we went there, right? This was in 7th, 8th grade. And you know how the kids walk around and say, okay, this is where the law is made and the bill and this and that, right? It was a nice, calm place. I was like, yeah, this place is dope. It wasn't all crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then we got a chance to peek in, and there was a few people in there, around that long thing, the big round thing. And she was like, okay, when this guy punches his button, that means that he agrees with the law and all of that. But I remember thinking, okay, the government is working. Even as a black kid, I saw black people working there, politicians. I was like, okay, government seems to be working out. I don't care who's president, because when I was a kid, I really didn't care. I had no vote, so why should I care?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care. But now, every time you see something, these people are fighting, just constantly fighting. Satan has a lot to do with this too. And people that don't believe in the darkness, when people can't sit in a room and figure stuff out to help their own state. Crazy.
Everybody is so for self downtown that it's so obvious that you're wondering why certain people are getting reelected when they're not doing anything for the people they represent. They're doing things for themselves, figuring out ways to get money, block things that are important to us. The things that are going on downtown are just so wrong, so fucking wrong.
I wish you could actually go there and stand up in front of them and tell them. I'd be right next to you. I'd be like, listen.
In 2000, after Gore lost his election, myself and a couple of people I know, in fact, a whole bunch of people went downtown to start working on voter issues. Okay. And I remember myself and a girlfriend of mine, she's white from New York, walking down the hallway, and they were so busy wolf whistling and trying to flirt with us that it was hard to get them to pay attention to what we were talking about. That kind of gave me some incentive about where these men downtown are really at, what their priorities were. And it did not make me feel comfortable. Okay.
Yep. And see that right there becomes their daily job.
Mm-hmm. Look at Gates and some of the issues that, stuff that he should have been arrested for. He's still downtown calling the shots. And poor Kevin McCarthy, 15 votes to become the speaker. He should have been ashamed and embarrassed and pulled his name out.
Yeah.
How desperate he looked to let that happen. 15 votes before, and he gave everything but the butt of his behind to get those votes to the fringe, but the serious nuts downtown. He had to give them all these things, all these perks to get them to come around. After 15 votes, he should have hung his head in shame and walked away.
Yeah.
And the thing he had to give up to get that job.
Yeah. See, and again, it affects us because the cabal have convinced people, and they may kill me today for saying this, but I don't care. They have convinced people that some group of people are better than other groups of people. So the group of people that you should think you're above, they're actually above you. But in reality, we're all on the same playing field because we're all on planet Earth. So how can anybody be above anybody? The people that have been oppressed and downtrodden are the people, the races that should be bitching and moaning all the time. And then when we bitch and moan about something, they're like, well, you have more than me. How do I have more than you and you had a 500, 400-year head start on me? And how in the world can I be ahead of you? Just because you see LeBron or you see basketball players or athletes or entertainers and this one and that one and Jay-Z have money, that doesn't mean that I have that kind of money. So don't be mad at me. You got to be mad at them. Like Chris Rock said, don't hate the player, hate the game. The game is set up to keep us banging heads all the time because as long as we bang heads, they can steal stuff. They can pass laws. They can infiltrate the school system. They can take out books. I had a brother from Texas in my car, and he's like, in El Paso and where he was from, he said one of the schools set up a Latin history class because it was about El Paso, Texas, where a lot of Latinos and Mexicans were. It was working well, right? The county came in to that little district and said, this is dynamite. This is working well. We're gonna try to duplicate it and cookie cut it and put it in other Latino areas. The state then came in and said, stop, can't do it. And the kids were like, well, damn, I'm learning about my own history because I'm from El Paso, Texas.
And look at Florida. Look at what's going on down there with the same kind of things.
Yep. And it's amazing that we don't have universal laws across this country. If we got a universal law for sprinklers and fire alarms, animals nowadays get taken better care of than human beings.
Exactly. And people with money seem to be more concerned about the animals' lives than people living on the streets.
Yep.
They're stepping over people with their poodles to go take the poodle to get groomed, watching somebody that's basically living with nothing going on for them, but like I said, maybe a little squat on the street, they'll step over them to take their dog to get groomed.
Yeah.
Or to take the dog someplace to eat with them or something. People don't seem to be as important as animals in certain people's minds.
That's right. And I got nothing against animals. I love animals. I
Me
love
too.
them all. They love me because I'm an empath. They jump all over me, licking me all the time. This and that. I got nothing against them, but I know if I got a choice, I got to take care of the human being first. And like I said, I love animals. I mean, I love when people take care of the animals. We need them. I have goldfish and, so I'm into the whole thing. I done had all kinds, but, at some point, this homeless situation, that's a whole nother show. Because, again, like you said, people will step over homeless people. Tent cities are erected. We need to get homeless people resources, not money, to build their own little tent cities correctly. If you're going to be, because they're already there. They're not going away. They're only getting bigger. So why aren't we saying, listen, this is a problem. And they tried this in California and it worked well. In order for you to live in our tent city, you have to build something or bring money into it. And it worked well. They actually built a community. So my theory is, okay, we got tent cities all around the country. All over. We get as many of the homeless people that are able to, that have mental capacities, that can, hold down 6 hours, and they start building their own stuff. Gives them something to do, and they'll make it nice because it's their own. And all they need is the resources, not cash. Bring the lumber there. Bring the cement truck there. Bring the wood, the carpet, the furniture, the electricity. Let these people do it because that way, they'll have some pride. They'll actually believe that, hey, America gives a fuck about me again. And then you may turn somebody's life around. But we can't just discard them like they're not there. Because they're there. They're there. Getting back to the law, unique to the District of Columbia, an approved act of the council must be sent to the United States Senate and House of Representatives and the United States Senate for a period of 30 days before becoming effective, or 60 days for certain, for any type of, normal kind of law. And my thing is, okay, that's already 3 months. They've been trying to pass laws in this country for 50 years that aren't passed.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's why I think that's all bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I call bullshit on all lawmakers out there, because you know what I'm saying? Mark, are you back there, sir? Mark been playing like a ghost today. He disappeared. He is.
Priorities are way out of whack.
Now you see him, now you don't. For those of you watching today's show at the top, it's funny because it was 3 of me, and I was trying to get rid of all of them. I just wanted 1 of me. So if you see that glitch at the top, we'll save that for our blooper reel. And don't forget, in May, first week in May, we're going to have like as many people on as we can for that month, because May will make our 3rd year anniversary. It will be 3. 3. Yo, that's dope, right? Maybe I can get all you celebrities like you, Linda, to give me a shout out again. And shout out to anybody that's an Aquarius birthdays today. We love you guys. Happy birthday. Mr. Mark Lee, you brought up a very good point before when you said next up is computer in your body. What do you mean by that?
I'm sorry, what did I say again?
You said next up is a computer in your body. What did you mean by that?
They're talking about putting watches and everything else literally in your arms. So there will be a computer literally in your body. It's already happening right now. It is in your eyes. It is in your body.
Yeah.
Oh, a watch?
There's watches and other things that are attached to your body. It's like an implant.
Yeah.
I've seen people with watches but I mean, you're talking about physically in the skin?
And physically in your skin.
That's a bit much. That's a road too far to travel for me.
AR is taking over though.
Yes.
Some of these people that we see
about people having computer chips put into themselves. Yeah. Sometimes without even knowing it.
Yeah.
But that's a bridge too far. Wow.
I know, and I'm far off on a conspiracy theory, so I'm a big one. But I know sometimes when you see celebrities, you're like, that's got to be a clone. I'm serious, because then they're way over here and they're way over there. How can it be 2 spots at once? Somebody's cloning somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because I look at some of these people now and I'm like, you ain't supposed to look like that. You ain't aging naturally. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they're huge. They become big.
But we know black doesn't crack, but then there's certain people that they've either had a lot of work done, or they've, like I said, there's people that are now. They were saying that Rihanna at the Super Bowl was kind of lip singing.
Oh yeah, she was
lip singing going on.
She did.
So who really knows what's really real and what isn't? We have so much AI going on, and so many people so advanced with technology that you don't know what's real and what's not anymore.
Yeah, I like the halftime show. Just for those watching, I thought the entertainment was great, but I was watching, and she like the 4th line in her song, her opening song. I told my girl, she missed the line because the song ended. She was still singing, but she wasn't singing, moving her lips. She was getting prepared. She was looking around like, okay, I know they're ready to move this platform.
Yeah,
and I saw it at the very end. She had like 4 more words to say, and she forgot. She had to finish that line and say, da, 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 and it was like, da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, okay, we got you. I look for that. Now, I don't care if she lip sync. It's entertainment. What do I care? I like the levels. I thought that was some deep shit. Now, I'm not going to get into the Illuminati thing, but just watch the show. That's all I'm going to say. That's why levels, all right?
I kind of figured she wasn't moving around too much because those things were not very big.
Yeah.
I don't think she felt comfortable, especially being pregnant. I think
she's pregnant.
She really moved. I expected her to come on with her hot and sexy, and seeing her with all that baggage around her, I knew something was up.
I didn't know she was pregnant.
I didn't either until I kind of
they announced it after the fact. They announced it after the fact.
She didn't really. That was a pregnancy. She admitted it after the show, but you could tell that something was going on. She kept holding her tummy.
Yeah, that makes sense. Then
her hands on her tummy and having all that big baggage clothes on, like she was trying to hide something. I kind of felt something was off.
That makes sense.
Not surprised.
Linda, I got a quick question for Linda because I just saw on the news today that there is a executive order that's going to announce that systematic racism is real. So apparently Biden's got this notice that systematic racism is real, and he's got an executive order. So are you shocked, or is it actually going to pass? But that is something that just came on the news today. That is an executive order about systematic racism.
Oh, gee, like we didn't know that was already an issue. That's
I don't know.
That's a day late and a dollar short.
Exactly.
I don't know what that means, an executive order anymore, because obviously the president ain't got no power, right? But I get why they're doing it, because they see that the whole country is turning brown. Not just black people, Latinos and Mexicans. I love you, brothers and sisters. Keep coming. Because eventually we'll all just be one race, the human race, like we're supposed to be. But if you're here illegally and you're selling drugs and you're causing crimes, of course I don't want you in my country. Of course not. So no, you ain't welcome, because if you're causing disruption, you're making things worse than they are, you're bleeding the system, God forbid, then no, you don't belong here. But legitimate people, they're hardworking people. This is a free country. Supposed to be repping that.
Right. I definitely agree with you on that, Zach. One of the other quick questions I had, and I did hear some of y'all's drug conversation, is I had a friend on another show that was talking about the way that the drugs were treated differently. And I heard y'all talk about crack cocaine, and that is what they think is part of the issue, that the reason our jails are filled more of us brown and black folks is because they were cracking down on crack, not on the powder. And the powder is what most of the white folks were using. But there was a gentleman, I think he was from DC, that had actually served when he was a child. And he was on a guest actually on Coco's show, if you want to know who show it was, Zach. And he was just explaining that difference in sentencing. But you've been in that space, Linda, so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, well, we know the crack epidemic kind of was started by the CIA and a certain person in California, and it just kind of went across the country real quickly, and it became so intense. Now it's fentanyl. They're talking about how many people are ODing on fentanyl because they're putting it in all the drugs. In heroin, there was a serious heroin epidemic in the 70s, especially in New York and New Jersey, and it kind of filtered across the country as well. Another thing was angel dust, which was like kind of intense in this area in California, more so than any place else in the country. As we traveled, I saw that myself, like, wow, there's just two places where the people are really intense on the angel dust thing. California was one and DC area was another. There's like drugs come along in waves, from heroin to, like I said, angel dust to cocaine to crack. And it just became sort of like an epidemic. And it's consistently, I think the crack thing is kind of tempered down a bit, but now people are doing, like I said, the fentanyl thing.
And methamphetamine.
Oh, I forgot about meth. Also,
don't forget that, man. Oh, yeah, the devil's like, listen, I'm going to throw some more shit at you. Y'all check this meth shit out.
That shit meth was more intense, like in like the West Virginia, in the like the Midwest kind of thing, more so, like I said, with like the rednecks and the bikers. Meth wasn't such a big issue in the ghetto, for sure. In our community, it was more, like I said, crack and cocaine and heroin.
Yeah.
And unfortunately,
I feel sad for. Yeah, you're right, and I feel sad for everybody that has to deal with it, whether they're on it, hooked on it, or has a family member, because it really does ruin your family. It really will take you out. It's people party and they want to do stuff socially, recreationally, whatever you want to call it. Great. But, it comes a time when you got to say, okay, I've done all of this stuff. Let me leave it alone now.
Enough is enough.
Yeah. And count your blessings that you didn't end up dead or in a mental institution or in the hospital or whatever.
When we were touring, at one point, everybody on the bus would be like playing cards, coming up with songs. By the time the crack epidemic hit us personally in the P-Funk family, all of a sudden everybody was going in their bunk with it shutting up, closing themselves off because they couldn't deal with the community because they were too high. It changed everything.
Yeah,
it changed how we dealt with each other because people would be so paranoid. They'd be like shutting themselves in, curtaining themselves off in their bunk, not wanting to interact with anybody because of the drugs. It changed so much, and it got to be so negative and uncomfortable and sad to see everybody going down that road.
Yeah, it hit everybody. So again, we made it through that somehow. Some of us didn't make it, some did.
Yes.
But now we got these kids, and they're, like you said, they're on the fentanyl, they're on the meth, and they're doing all the shit in the street with the shootings, this and that. My friend Chrissy Key Rollins always says, this is the planet where chaos happens. Whether we wanted to or not, we signed up for this. This is the planet where chaos happens. But if you know anybody or anybody feels a certain way, look at the bottom of the screen, Suicide Hotline 988. Please just dial that. This show today is about humanity, peace, love, and harmony. And we want everybody to understand we care about all of you, and we definitely want what's best for all of you. And we want to make sure you understand this show here we're going to recognize, because we need each other. We got to love each other. We can't live without each other. It's impossible. Yes. It's impossible. We're hanging out with
the village back again. Every child has a village to being raised by family, friends, neighbors, to keep everybody on the straight and narrow.
Yep.
We've lost that. We need that back.
That's right. That's right. And hopefully, I know they said, I was watching this thing last night where they had took this guy, this scientist, and he had put out a book. And the book lasted for like maybe 30 days. This was back in the 50s. I forgot the name of the book. And the government took the book off the market. And what the book was basically about was the end of days, And he had kind of broke it down scientifically. He said, listen, the earth is going to shift and shatter no matter what humans do.
You talking about Nostradamus?
No. He said that too. But no, this was a scientist in the 40s and 50s. He was actually a geologist. But what he was writing about, all the different millions of years, every time the earth shifted and wiped out society. He said that's why the archaeologists have so many levels to dig through. He said because the land masses shifted, and became this, became that, became this, became that. So he said every few million years, this planet just does that. And he says usually when it's getting ready to do that, the planet is in chaos. Now, he said it may be 1,000 years from now, whatever, but we're at that point. Revelations, the end of time.
There's a lot of chaos going on in the world, and that's real.
Can't tell one distinctive gender from another. Mothers against daughters, daughters against mothers, fathers, sons, sons against fathers. All of that was predicted. Nostradamus said it as well. Prophets have told us this. What do we tell people to give them some positive energy and love?
You have to find that inside. That has to radiate from your internal issues, from your mindset, from your heart, how you feel about people around you, the love that you are supposed to have for your family and your fellow man. That has to come from inside. Yeah. And if you don't have that kind of love, then you're going to be someone that's going to constantly be at odds with the universe.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I'm glad you said that. At odds with the universe. See, that's wisdom right there for those of y'all watching Funk from the Front Seat. Pay attention to what she just said. We can't be at odds with the universe because we are that. Mark has been back there playing Ghost all day. Mark, you have one last comment for Linda before we crank up the car and get out of here, son? He has. He's been ghosting me all day.
He's on another mission today. MIA.
His computer's acting up. Mine's was acting up. Sir knows. Maybe they're trying to shut my show down. Maybe they say 3 years of you telling the truth is enough. Maybe.
Big brother is intervening.
Yeah. I always end with a song. Of course, I'm going to play One Nation. But give us a little insight as to how you guys were recording One Nation Under a Groove. And where'd you record it at?
In Detroit at United Sound, which was called the Funk Lab. And it was just, everybody was on the up tip that day.
Yeah, I could tell.
And it just kind of permeated into the music.
Yeah.
When we heard it, and Gary kind of arranged the vocals for us and stuff. Everybody, when we left that session, everybody was smiling. We knew we had done something positive.
You could hear it in the song.
Felt good.
Yeah, you could hear it in the song. Certain songs come across because when we heard it, first time I heard it, this is funny because Leon Spinks was getting ready to box. And they were showing him on Wide World of Sports. And he was jumping rope to it.
Okay.
Yeah, he was working out to it. And we was like, okay, forget the boxing. That's a Funkadelic song. We knew right away. It was different, right? And then we instantly went out and bought the album. That's how I first heard it. He was warming up to, I heard that ting, 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 ting. I was like, oh, that's different. Because, you know, they would always warm up to a song, and he was warming up to One Nation.
Oh, wow.
We went, saw it on TV, went and found out, sure enough, brand new Funkadelic album, One Nation with the draw. We was like, oh, man, you know what I'm saying? That album is so underrated. Every song on that album was fire. Groove Allegiance to the Funk was fire. You know, everything on there, you know, Promento, Ship Back, Watch That Coast, Enema Squad, which I heard the original version, which you told me was a love song in the beginning. I remember the story you told me. That was fire. You know, even though it was crisscrossed with other stuff, you had peed or pooped on it.
Yes.
It was fire. God bless him, Mr. Clinton.
He said it was too romantic. He had to put some stink on it.
Yeah, it's pee on, but it was dope, man. And Garrett, somehow, I heard the original version because he played it one day on his show. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I loved it, man. I loved it. You and I talked about it too. But yeah, that whole album, man, and all of that stuff, man. And it was such a thrill for Black people because you guys were our heroes. You know, the white kids growing up, they had Zeppelin, they had this. Now Hendrix was universal. He was everybody's hero.
Hendrix, yes, everybody.
But for when it came down to it, you know, the Who, Zeppelin, them cats, the white long-haired hippies, they was gravitating towards that. And we did too. And Edgar Winter, we crossed over. But you guys were our fucking personal heroes. Black people doing that funk rock shit like that all over the world, headlining Madison Square Garden. When I saw that, I was like, we have made it. I felt like I was up there with you. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to you, Linda. I'm going to give you the last word. Mark ain't coming back. And then we get ready to get out of here. Thank you guys for tuning in today. It's been a great show. Hour and a half always flies by. And we're going to give Linda the last word. And then we're going to crank up the car. And I got work.
Well, thank you, Zach, once again for having me on. 3 years and counting. Hopefully you have like 6 or 7 more at least, you know. Always a pleasure to funk with you. Love to everyone who listens and watches us. Thank you so much for all the accolades. Like I said, working with the Black Rolling Stones, that's what I called P-Funk, because that's how intense my love was for them. To be a part of it was awesome. Never forget it. Always a pleasure. Much love to everybody. Peace. Take care of your families. No guns in the house if you can help it. Much love. I'm out.
Yo, Funk from the Front Seat, Linda Shiner. Y'all heard it here first. She's out. Let's crank it up. Written by Linda Shiner and Gary Shiner. DC, we love you. New Jersey, we got you. New York, Long Island, Bayshore, I got you. Staten Island, Charlotte, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, clap your hands. Canada, I got you. Ohio, Brenda, clap your hands, boot your pants. Detroit, Minneapolis, Canada, Dubai, Mexico, Spain, south of the border, Ukraine, we love you. Russia, we got you. We are One Nation in Nevada. Joanne, feel better. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, George, down in Texas. Thank you, Brooke. I love you, Boo. Thank you for helping produce the show today. Executive producer, Mr. Mark Lee, back there on the technical side. Happy birthday, Ella. Love you. Don't tell me now. Utah, what you doing? Tokyo, I'm Young Isaiah. Samoan, doing the Humpty Hump. Humpty Hump. Japan, Germany, Italy, Coperino, Ireland, Elizabeth.
Love you over there in Australia, Carmen and Wendy. Patty Sophie to Germany. I got you. Happy birthday, Gabe. South America, Peru, Mexico, Anunnaki, Sumerian race, we got you. One nation under groove, yo. Getting down just for the focus. What a great song. Everybody clap your hands. We are one nation. Peace, love, and harmony, y'all. Good morning. I know you're partying. I feel you. Hang your valley way. With the groove I only got. It feels so good in the front seat, y'all. I love you guys out there. You've been great today. Staying active. Protect each other. Love each other. Stop the gun violence, please. Michigan, we love you. Florida, we love you. Oklahoma, Virginia, North and South Kakalaki, Kentucky, we love you. Ohio, we got you. Funk from the front seat. We get ready to get out of here, y'all. See you next week. One nation under our roof, getting down just for the fun. One nation, we're on the move.